Wow, what a day. Once again, SoFi is breaking records that we haven't seen in years. So this is fantastic. SoFi is trying to get $15. It is trying, and it's probably not going to stop unless something terrible were to happen here, but we've got so much good news at this point, it's hard to imagine a world where this is not going to work out now. And obviously, there's always talks of the recession or the market could fall apart. That's in the air. And the market's been having trouble here the past few days. It's been having a little bit of sell-off, even though the S&P 500 went right back over 58 today, 5,800. So it likes this 58 range, the S&P 500. The Dow fell a little bit today, but still we're seeing really, really amazing numbers in the stock market. So, but then again, too, we have this election in 13, 14 days. So going right into SoFi, let's break down what happened today in SoFi. SoFi immediately had this just huge push today to almost $11.30, almost $11.30, just shy of it. And then from there, it sold off. It sold back to $10.84, closing out the day at $10.93. But still, the low today was the high. So the low that we saw today was the high, if that makes any sense here. So still this is great. This is great. And this is what we've needed to see with SoFi. So obviously, here's what we're looking at when we break down these charts right now with SoFi. SoFi has had this $2 billion deal come through. SoFi on the 29th of October, which is next Tuesday, will be reporting earnings, which we expect the earnings just to be good. We don't know if they're going to be face melting quarterlies, like it's going to be like, oh my God, they're like double, triple what we thought they were going to be. Don't know if they're going to be that, but they're going to be good. We know that. That's to be expected. So that's in the back pocket right there. Not only we've got the rate cut situation happen, but too, when you look at this too, look at this volume and the move up here since SoFi has been going here. We've gone from, 10, 18, 24, just days ago, honestly, at this point, until now we're at $10.65 for the high, which was yesterday, and then today we beat that going to that 11.26. So, and the volume here is doing amazing. The volume is steadily getting bigger and bigger as we're noticing here. And today, volume wasn't crazy volume, but it still was a very good volume. So we're seeing steps being made here that SoFi is getting to this $15 mark. Now, the curious part is how soon could this happen with SoFi? At this rate, SoFi is taking such leaps and bounds. We could see $13 to $15 here by Tuesday, maybe, depending on how high this can be pushed here. Now, yesterday, SoFi took a hit. It fell with the market. It sold off a little bit. And when I say SoFi sold off, it was like, that sell-off that it had yesterday was still very high if you were buying in at, $6, $7, $8, $9. And now SoFi is back up to like closing right under $11. So I think it's safe to say, at least going up to earnings here, SoFi is not going to sell off much more. We're just not going to see it. The question is, once these earnings come out, how much ground is SoFi going to hold? If SoFi releases quarterlies that are just like, nah, they're good quarterlies, is what we expected. Okay. We might stay around this $10 to $13, maybe $15 range. We'll stay in a $5 range here with SoFi. Bad days will be in a low 10. Good days will be playing around a $13 zone. Okay, very reasonable, very possible. Now, as time continues here in the next 60 days, SoFi will gradually start to go up, and we may see it get into these mid-teens here. This is very possible, and I don't think really anybody's in disagreement about that at this point. If SoFi comes out with some kind of just, like I said, face melting quarterly here, where we see SoFi just, come out with a hellacious quarterly. I mean, just like it beats all expectations and it is like, whoa, we did not see that coming. that's gonna give the push that it needs. That's gonna be the steroid push for SoFi. And yeah, we're gonna hit that $15 mark very easily. We're gonna hit maybe a $16 to $17 mark here by December, especially January, when we see the last quarterlies come out for this year. It's crazy to say that, $9, $10 is the low for SoFi. Just 2-3 weeks ago, this was not the conversation we were having. The conversation was like, I hope SoFi can hold this range. I hope it can hold this range. But SoFi didn't have this $2 billion deal in its back pocket. It didn't have this momentum with it yet. Investors were still very scared of it. But once that deal came through, they were like, okay, well, there's $2 billion in the bank right there that's gonna be helping them. And not only that, we've got the rate cuts coming. We've got that credit card deal that happened 3 weeks ago that people seem to have forgot about. And now we're gonna have these new quarterlies. So these are all things to really help here. So the key bullet points here is that I don't expect until at least next Wednesday, depending on after the quarterlies come out, to see really big sell-off with SoFi. There's no reason. Even with the market going down as it did yesterday, SoFi really didn't have a terrible day. I mean, it sold off, but it was not a huge sell-off. It just wasn't. So SoFi more than likely will close big tomorrow, Friday. Monday we'll probably have another push. Tuesday, yeah, that'll be the day. So, friends, this is the moment. If you've been in SoFi for the last 2-3 years, it's literally all led up to this point. I mean, it's been a long ride here waiting on SoFi to do something. I mean, it has been a long time, but finally we're starting to see elements start to come together here. I mean, it's literally been just a Jenga set here, just trying to get SoFi somewhere and just watching it crash after time after time after time. So I'm excited. You should be excited. There is something fantastic is going to happen here next Tuesday, and we're probably going to see numbers that we haven't seen with SoFi since 2-3 years ago with SoFi. This is going to be the real big start of SoFi getting to these big numbers and remaining a big stock. That's what's really exciting here. Okay, talking about DJT here, I know this is a different conversation, different stock, so I didn't want to make this the forefront of the video, but here it is. Yesterday I said that I bought in to this stock. I bought around 20 shares at like $35 even, so I spent around like $700 some dollars. Not a huge position, but just a position to play around with, and I'm going to see what happens here. I'm going to use this as just a little bit of extra money to put in somewhere. Probably just put it in SoFi, Palantir, something like that. Maybe Nvidia. I don't know yet. But with that too, this is a situation. I don't really want to go into my whole situation as what I think about this stock in general, because I spoke on it so much. But you need to understand the next 13 days, however many days it is now to the election. This is a very play around stock. This is FOMO. This is don't get your feelings attached to it. This is in, out, sell, make money, come back in, make money. It's that situation. Now with that, tomorrow, Friday, we are supposed to have Joe Rogan and Trump meet. Now, obviously, I don't think Rogan's going to release the podcast tomorrow. I think he records his podcast like he does like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then he releases them later in the week. I do not see him releasing this podcast from what we know at this point until probably this time next week. So it could be until next Wednesday. Maybe. He may release it sooner because he knows the whole world is going to be wanting this podcast. We've been wanting this podcast for a long time. With that, tomorrow, though, should bring some hype. It should bring some inflation on the stock. It should shoot up a little bit here. Now, what will that be? I don't know. The fact that it's holding this 34, 35 range, I think is very good. Even today, it jumped up into, the 36 zone, which was very positive. I thought today it was going to sell off a lot more. I thought we might see 32, and I was going to double down on my position, but it never did. So it just never did. We could possibly see it run pretty good tomorrow. I don't know how it's going to react, how people are going to react to this. I think, if anything, it will happen later in the day when we start to see pictures of Trump and Joe come out, because more than likely tomorrow, Joe and Trump will have some sort of picture at least be released that they did the podcast, successful, people are happy. We don't know what they talked about, what they said. And I don't think this podcast is going to be something like that majority of people that are going to care about in general. I don't expect them to really talk about much with policy. I expect them probably to talk about things they like, UFC, food, certain people they know together. That's probably going to be a majority of the conversation. And in there, mingled in it, will be some stuff about some policy, some immigration, stuff like that. I suspect things like that. So it's more of a hype play, obviously, and then that's what this whole thing is. It's a hype play. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of money in hype. There's a lot of money in FOMO. Do not kid yourself about that. And we're going to see that here in the next few days with this stock as it's rolling into the next week here. Obviously, I bought in here at $35, and I'm okay with that because I believe the stock is going to 45. I believe it's going to 50. I think this time next week, the stock will continue to be going up. I think 2 days before the election, this stock could possibly be at $50 to $60. Possibly. Right now, the betting average, and it's all over Vegas, you can see it, it's everywhere. You can go online, wherever you make bets, whatever, you can bet on the election, and Trump is past 60% right now with betting average that he will win this election. That's how crazy it is right now. Now, obviously, polls, whole different scenario right there, but polls are very biased wherever you look at them. Of course, Fox News says Trump's going to win. CNN says Kamala's going to win. And, there's more biased polls towards Kamala, obviously, with how the media works. But that's just me saying that is a biased statement for someone. So it's a toss-up what's going to happen here. Like I said, I've said this plenty of times. If you're going to hold this stock until after the election, that is on you. At that point, it's a gamble. Because if Trump does not win this election, please remember that I said this. This stock will implode on itself and it will fall apart. So be very aware of that situation. Be very mindful of that. Don't kid yourself and think that, well, Trump wouldn't let this stock fall apart, and Trump, he's still going to be something big, and it'll remain around $20, $25, $30 stock. No. If Trump loses this election, this stock will go down probably to $10 to $5 probably by December. I would even say probably by the third week of November. That's probably the honest situation of it. And Trump will just go on and live his life, and the media will completely attack this company. And I don't expect anything more to come of it. And that's just the God's honest truth. And that's not me trying to be biased towards either. That's just the truth. We've already seen it so much. The one thing I am scared about this more than not, it's not so much about Trump saying something in the Rogan interview or anything like that with this stock. More what I'm scared about with this stock is that tomorrow, let's say, picture comes out with Trump, Rogan, we start to see it rolling. People are hyped. They're like, oh my God, they did it. It's on. Well, then people start buying it. And maybe this is like 4 o'clock tomorrow after hours, right before, the stock market closes, or even after hours when people can buy stuff still on Webull, Robinhood, their accounts, whatever it be. We start to see some massive volume come in on the stock. Maybe it shoots up to like $40. Well, that's the scary part for me, because I look at that and I go, well, what if they halt it? What if they halt it? What if they freeze it to where you can't buy, you can't sell, you can't do anything? They've done that. They did it last week. So that's really more of where my fear comes with this stock, is that people get caught in it. So like I said, don't be afraid to take profit where there's profit in this, because there's so much going against you on this stock. It is just, it's not a safe stock. It's not a safe situation. They halted it last week because it was moving so hard. It could happen again. It could very well happen again. We've seen them do it multiple times to something like GameStop, AMC. We've seen that many times where they've done it more than once in a week to 2 week pattern. It's happened plenty. They've done it with a lot of stocks. This is no different, and they've done it with this more than once. So be aware of that. Just because there's a huge run on it, probably the bigger the run on the stock, it's going to be worse because they may halt it again. And if that was going to happen, it could be tomorrow or Monday for sure. Friends, I wish you all the well, and I will talk to you soon. Take care of yourself, and I'm excited about tomorrow. Let's see what happens here. Bye, everyone.